Welcome back to the Mock Podcast on the Silent Podcast Network, where we're anything but silent. I am your host, Ganjo, coming at y'all with another wild ass movie that Disney wanted to present to us early on. And of course, I'm always here with my amazing, exuberant co-host, Esme. How you doing, Esme?
Doing good, and except for that one time when you did the dog one by yourself.
Mostly all
I'm
the
doing
time.
good.
Mm-hmm.
The movie is interesting. I can't wait to get into it and talk about my thoughts and feelings because I have a lot. Or do I? Because I.
I got some positive shit, but everything is at least neutral or bad. But this week we watched our sixth movie, Can of Worms, and did you know anything about this movie? Like, were you familiar with this movie before we watched this?
No. I went in, I was like, oh, I might enjoy this. Like, I don't know much about it. It seems like a fun concept. It didn't land for me really at all.
Not at all. I think they really tried.
This is like someone in the audience's favorite decom movie, but get a different one. Pick a better movie. Because I didn't like it. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of heard about it, and I feel like I might have seen this movie in a breeze, but it wasn't like the same thing with Under Wraps. Where like when I first heard about Under Wraps, I was like, "Ooh, I don't remember this," and then when I saw it, I was like, "Okay, I do remember this." When I started watching this, I was like, "Ooh, I don't." This is a foreign film to me, and I was coming in this motherfucker just as much of a newcomer as you were, Esme, and it was really wild.
I don't know if like I've heard of the name or just like heard the phrase "can of worms" before, so like I can't say like I don't know if I fully have heard of the movie or just the phrase because it's a popular phrase too.
No, I agree with that because who knows? Okay, so I guess we could get right into it. So the movie, okay, just like I don't know, I guess a lot of movies back in the day started like this, but it's a stormy night. You just see like this random kid who is Mike Pillsbury, but he's making some type of contraption in his backyard. And
at first, I thought he was running into like bringing the patio furniture inside, and I like was like, "Yes, bringing that patio furniture." And then he went to the other side. I was like, "Oh, never mind. Don't get struck by lightning, though."
Do not get struck by lightning. Like on a really rainy lightning night, you know,
next to a giant metal thing.
Next to a giant metal contraption, which is basically a fat ass satellite, a really Dish Network satellite. It's an oversized satellite, and he needs to transmit a signal to the galaxy, claiming that he is on Earth against his will and that he needs saving. And it was wild. Like the message, I was like, what they do to you to make you this mad?
Also, what kind of alien name is Mike Pillsbury? I'm sorry.
Doughboy. I'm like Pillsbury Doughboy. Okay, like
I thought of the Pillsbury Doughboy, and I also thought of Emma Pillsbury from Glee, which like
I don't know that one, but
you don't need to remember her. She was there.
No shade to Emma Pillsbury.
No, all the shade to Emma Pillsbury.
No, I felt like the graphics were actually kind of cute. Like right here, like when like it was like all the electricity going through the satellite and doing all the little stuff. I didn't think it was like cheesy. I liked it. Like
no, it gets cheesy.
It does get very cheesy. Oh my god, it gets so bad. It's like where did they fall from this? They started the movie off so good and they just like fail. Like
they put all their budget in the. I would have rather have that part been cheesy and the aliens look a little better.
I agree because I mean that part ends up being important, but we'll get to that point. So he sends his message and like he pressed enter and like lightning like starts to strike and then we kind of don't see anything. Like it just like the movie just cutscene. Go to the next scene. I believe they're in his treehouse explaining the story about.
Yeah, it goes back not 10 weeks. It goes back 2 weeks, not 10 weeks.
It went back 2 weeks. And Mike is in his cool little treehouse talking to Nick and Nick's little brother Jay and telling them about like an alien story and the Hansels. You know, the Hansels were like an alien planet where they was just chilling, and then some foreign aliens wanted to scrap with them, so they bucked up and fought them, and basically like some Goku Dragon Ball Z shit where the planet was getting destroyed and they sent their baby to
Mhm.
Earth. So how did you feel about that story he told, like Esme?
I thought it was fine. I was not interested really yet. It didn't really catch the movie did not do a good job at like piquing my interest for most of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a bad sign. Like I was like, okay, when is like throughout multiple times, like when is it gonna start to pick up?
Mm-hmm.
And this was also when I started to notice how overacting the main character was.
Oh my god. He was so dramatic.
Like it's and like not just like in a deep Disney Channel way. It was very, very noticeable. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
something is off about this. And I'm like, it's not, and it was like, it's not like, oh, because he might be part alien. It was just like every scene, even when he was alone, I was like, this is, I just didn't like his acting, I think, is what it
Mm-hmm.
was. And I'm sorry to the man. I don't know who
You
he
know that
is.
man.
What?
Sorry.
I don't know if he like, I don't think he was getting any Grammys, or I don't think he was getting any like Oscars for this role.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. Not for this one. I mean, I think he sold the bit that he was awkward.
Mhm.
Like I felt that, but like he was just like extra awkward, like for no reason. And I mentioned this like they was talking about a person's life flashing before their eyes before they are about to die, and I'm like, and then he said the dead dies in the story of the guy, and he explains how they send him to Earth, whatever. So when they start talking about that, I'm like, this is so deep to be talking about in a Disney movie, talking about like your life
Mhm.
flashing before your eye when you die, like that's too much. But his friends basically like doesn't believe him. Like he Mike thinks he's an alien from a distant planet. He thinks he's that baby that got sent home like the Goku, got sent to Earth. But his friend Nick does not really feel that's correct.
Mm.
And I mean, he's not really too far off, but it's kind of like the movie didn't even really do a good job explaining
It
kind of
didn't. It left me with a lot of questions.
because that left a big storyline open and like it was just like too cute at the end. It was just like, okay, like this is random, but that's fine. So find out he plays football and he hates it. Middle of the game, Mike sees a cheerleader, aka Caitlin. She's the captain of the cheerleading squad, and
Mhm.
he really likes her. The ball is thrown by the opposite team, and Esme, do you want to explain what happens when he catches the ball?
He just does circles and like starts to run back towards the his own team's like thing, so the other team will get a point, but he gets tackled. Mhm.
Yeah, he gets destroyed. They
he
knock
gets
his
he
ass.
gets pummeled.
He get knocked on his ass, and then he like see like a vision of an alien grabbing for his brain, and like
Mhm.
he kind of like freaks out, not really. And then his family, after he get up, they all troll him. Like they was family had a good arc. They was trolling him early on, and
Mhm.
I don't want to jump too far ahead, but they actually touched my heart at one point. Like
Mhm.
they were really supportive of him, and I was like, oh, like that's so cute to come from this trolling to like really being supportive. I really like it.
Yeah.
He needed to learn 3 L's: listen, look, and learn. It's kind of basic. I thought that was very basic. That's what the dad told him. Um,
Yeah.
and basically, I wrote down he's bad at football, but he's very smart with this alien transmitter he got in his backyard. It's like a jumbo satellite dish.
Yeah.
Like he shouldn't have been an irritating character, and I think he was.
He shouldn't have. I think I just looked him up. He does more stage acting, which I think makes more sense now that like in retrospective, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
he was giving more of a stage performance throughout the whole movie, which works. That this performance would have like how he performed would have worked on a stage because you have to
Mm-hmm.
like make sure you're expressive enough for the whole audience to see you and
Mm-hmm.
make but it didn't read as well. And I think like he's gone on to do like a lot of stuff in theater, and
Mm-hmm.
that's I think I just based on this I'm like, well, he was also a child too here, so
Yeah,
I
he was
can't
very
talk too
young.
much. But I will. But yeah, I think like he came off a lot more annoying than I think they intended him to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the only character that I found likability in, like, or one that I found I was like, okay, this is at least an interesting character, was Catherine Caitlin.
Caitlin. Mm-hmm.
And the sister, but like,
Mm-hmm. No, I feel you. They weren't. Everybody else wasn't given much,
mm-hmm.
and like I feel like it's fair for us to talk about. I guess not in terms of their acting because he's a good actor. It's just like we say he like kind of overacted a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
we're comparing him to other kids around his age that were also acting in these same spots.
Like compared to like people who were like compared to like Xenon, it wasn't as good. Like, you know, like comparing it to other Disney Channel like ones, it didn't reach
Even
the level
Marnie, like Marnie, like he not competing with Marnie. Like you know what I'm trying to say, like
no.
Halloween Town. So it's kind of hard, but like
Mm-hmm.
I think Disney they we're gonna find this out later on too, but I don't think they don't go, you know, they go a long time without finding a male star, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like they're really good at finding women stars, but like female stars, but like a male star, like they struggle to like, I guess, put them in a good mode or whatever.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's interesting looking back, like seeing like what ones kind of became breakout. Like from the earlier ones, it's so far only really been like the female, like the actresses, you know.
Especially like the main ones, like so. That's good. Even I forgot her name in Under Wraps. But even oh girl, she kind of like I felt like took the energy. You know what I'm trying to say? Like she commanded the screen more than the boys.
And same with Brink.
Yep. Because everybody remember her and don't remember them. So that I guess they were really good at casting women. Okay, so basically he's chilling with his little sister, and we find out basically she's a big ass troll. She asks her brother for help. He helps her. And you know, she makes a little statement like, "You are definitely from another planet." And then we find out like his dad is like a stock market person, and he sends like a pig to his dad's computer or something like that.
I thought the dad got a virus on the computer at first. The explanation did not make sense to me
at all. No, it did not. It didn't. I think it was supposed to prelude what happens next, but like they didn't really.
They didn't explain it. It didn't seem really like foreshadowing. It just seemed like I was like, okay, so the dad got a virus for some reason, and like the son's gonna come in here and show like, oh, he's a computer whiz. Like he's gonna be able to get rid of the virus really easily without them having to like pay a lot of money to get rid of it, you know, or without the dad having to buy a new computer.
Right.
Instead, it was like he did it, and the son did it for some reason. I'm still confused on what even transpired during that scene.
Yeah, it was very weird. I didn't understand it either. I was kind of like, okay, how did this end up on his computer? Like, did he put it on his computer? Why did he put it on his computer? And maybe it was because he wanted, I guess, to talk about how he didn't want to play football anymore.
But there's another. I feel like that's not. I feel like there's another easier way to bring it up than like glitching your father's computer.
Right.
Like have a sit down and talk to him over dinner. Don't potentially break his computer.
Right. Like it was kind of weird. And like basically the dad was just like, okay, well, I think you can actually do it, so don't give up. Type shit. So keep pushing. So then we see Mike at the school, and basically the jock guy, aka Schreiner, aka Scott. I think his name is Scott.
Something.
That's one thing I did not like. They kept switching people's names up, and I didn't like that, especially for like non-main characters or just like people who are kind of irrelevant. Like, why do they have multiple names? I'm sorry. Like, please keep it concurrent. Like, I know y'all want it to be like a movie and for it to be like, I don't know, real, but at least call people the same name, because I was confused a lot at who's who. So they're in class, and the girl that Mike thought was cute sits right next to him. And then this is where the battle starts between Mike and Scott. So what happened in this battle, Esme?
Sorry. So like in the class, right?
Yeah, in the classroom with the computer.
So first what happens is like the bully jock guy like sends like an email with basic, I don't know how, but like projects an image onto his screen, basically like, I got your brain. And then he retaliates, the main character retaliates, and he said, instead of like, at first he sends a message to their teacher, basically the principal being like, hey, you looking kind of cute, want to meet up in the principal's office. And she's like, I gotta go, she's like, I know I'm supposed to be teaching, but the principal's hitting on me, gotta go. And she left the class unattended to get dicked down.
Priorities. He slid in her emails and she said, I have to respond. So then basically, after the email got sent to the teacher leaves, and then Mike basically puts a pig on everybody's screen and photoshops Scott's face on the pig.
Yes.
And embarrasses the hell out of Mike. I mean, not Mike, Scott. But I didn't, okay. The first thing that Scott did wasn't even that bad. It wasn't even cool. I would just let
him too.
It was just him. Like, it wasn't even, it was like, that was so lame. And then he just did that extra shit to embarrass him, which Mike didn't have to do, but like, you know, you kind of got to do it when, you know, people testing your gangster. Like, he was testing Mike gangster, and Mike said, boom, boom, let me hack all of this. Let me get this taken care of. And you about to be embarrassed, my guy. But yeah, that scene was kind of, I guess, cool and necessary. But this is another thing. Oh, before I forget, they use these floppy disks. Did you know what that was? Esme?
Yes.
So they use a motherfucking floppy disk to hack each other, and I'm like, I don't remember this being a way to hack people.
I don't think this is how it works. Like, I know what a floppy disk is, but I'm like, I don't think that's how it works. I've never used one, but I'm like, I don't think so, but okay, go off.
Go off. I was like, okay, like, that's cool. Oh, whatever. So Sky is obviously pissed, you know, or whatever. So and then that rolls over to later. So the scene goes basically to Mike telling a story in a treehouse again. And he's talking to Nick and Jay again, and his sister comes up and basically lets him know that there's a girl that's chilling in his room. And
it's the girl. It's the it girl.
It's the it girl. It's the it girl.
The girl next door.
The head cheerleader. You know, Mike's crush. Mike down there loves this girl, and he don't believe his sister at first. And he's chilling, him and Nick chilling like, oh, she's not really there. But what if she is? And he darts out the tree.
I didn't get the editing on this because they sped it up.
They sped it up.
I was like, okay, because they never use it again. They never go back, and I think that is a confusing part because it's like only used for this scene, and it's like it doesn't really contribute that much. I feel like so I don't understand, like, every shot should contribute something to the overall movie, and none of that really did. It just seemed like it was padding out the runtime, but also like very confusing. I think it had a lot of moments of like, why throughout the movie for me.
Yeah, and that's a big thing where it's kind of like even the Mike and Caitlin storyline, like I was invested in Caitlin for a while and the Mike storyline as well, because I was like, okay, it's cute. They might like start kicking it. And like it was building to that point and then it just got stifled. It just stopped. It was just like
it didn't do anything. Like
it plotlined early too, Esme. It wasn't even like at the end when it plotlined. It plotlined really kind of like towards the end, but just not at the very
end. Right. And yeah. I just looked that up, and apparently this script was written 3 times, and I think it shows.
3 times? Oh,
yeah, like the original script writer was fired and then rehired. like I was like, I just want to see how was this movie perceived? I'm like, this is interesting. I think it like makes a lot of sense that this movie ended up being like written like 3-4 times because it seems like it. Yeah.
Yeah, but after the second time you rewrite it, you gotta call it. You gotta call it
And after
real.
you hire back the screenwriter you fired.
Come on. They probably destroyed the movie because they got fired.
Mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm.
feel me? That's some shit I would have
She
did.
won a script writing award for it.
I don't know how. Is this true, Esme?
Yeah, according to Wikipedia, so I don't fully trust it, but apparently
Mm,
she won the Writers Guild arbitration process. I'm like, okay.
that's crazy.
I'm like,
It
was it what else was out? Was there no other movies that year?
had to be nothing going on that year. Nothing. But I mean, that's might be even crazier than Caitlyn just chilling in Mike's room, just she waiting for him to tell a story, and she kind of says it as such. And she says his room looks like Frankenstein. She sees his transmitters and he explains what it is. She's very impressed. Like the boys are, chilling in the treehouse at the same time, all watching, through the window, see if they boy got game or not.
He don't
And
know.
he does not at all. He asked why she came to his house. Like she was impressed with what he did to the bully in the class. When he sent that pig to everybody's computer, and she need help, making the dance super high tech. Like so,
Mm-hmm,
she basically was using this man, but that's what it came off as, but that's not really what it is. They
mm-hmm.
was giving me really power couple vibes at one point.
At first, and then nothing
Mhm.
happened.
Period, and then nothing happened. I
Like
was
it seemed
like,
like it was also interesting because like there was no, it was like this with the relationship, and then it instantly like, and I think that was
mhm,
part of the problem. It wasn't a slow and it wasn't a steady kind of skyrocketed and then just puttered out. Like it used all its momentum at the beginning
mhm.
and then puttered out halfway through. And I'm like,
They
I would,
tried though. They
I much
tried.
rather would have had it be more of a steady incline
Mhm.
than it skyrocket and then do nothing.
No, they tried to do something, and when we get to that point, it's kind of gonna be like they try to explain why it get bad, but then they try to bounce back the other way at the same time. So it's very confusing. It's so confusing in this movie. So they spend time fixing up, the whole little montage. They in school doing it during class. They probably got out of class to do it. Shout out to that. And he went crazy. It looks amazing. And he explains that he would have never thought that they would work well together. And she explains that he shouldn't feel that way and asks him if he could tell her a story, which is cute because
Mhm.
that's like they MO. And then he starts to tell the story, but the bully Scott pops in, interrupts. And he like the bully Scott invites Caitlyn to go out to dinner with him and his friends. And surprisingly, this is what the confusion starts. Caitlyn, like, first of all, who was Scott to Caitlyn? They never explained that. They never explained that that was her boyfriend, her
Or
ex
ex or
boyfriend,
something like a friend.
something. They nothing. It was just, I guess they was cool, and
Mhm.
but she denies this advance to go out to dinner with them, and Mike is shook. Mike like, ooh, did you just do that? Come on,
Mhm.
this is crazy. And she was like, oh, I'm not hungry. And then she wants to stay with Mike, and Scott can't believe it. And then right after Scott leave, Mike like, I'm actually kind of hungry, so let's go get some food type shit. So he kind of swooped in, did some nice shit. Actually got the date with the girl he probably wanted to be on.
Mhm.
Besides Scott cock blocking in this situation. But like, how'd you feel about this scene of them like working together and seeing common ground and how nice the dance looked?
It was cute. I was like, okay, this is nice. I hope it goes somewhere else.
Mhm.
That yeah. I was like, it's cute. Nothing. It was like fine. It was an average like meet cute thing montage Disney montage. I feel like that's my consensus for most of this. Is it was
Mhm.
average. It was like kind of cute, average to what the fuck is going on.
Period. No, I feel that as well. I just think it was just like very cute. So as they leave and get some food, Scott and his like little henchmen, they sneak back into the gym where the dance is being held late at night, and they ruin all of Mike's hard work. It doesn't
Mhm.
look ruined at first, but they do some little tech shit or they hack it themselves, and
Mhm.
they're setting up to really embarrass him. So They fast forward to Mike being at home getting ready for the dance. And his mom has a tape to help him learn how to dance, a VHS tape, which is cute. And have you seen? I mean, not me aging you. How many VHS tapes have you seen like growing up?
Let me go
Did,
grab the ones I have.
did y'all have a lot of them, or
We
just
had
a
a lot.
few?
When I was child, when I, I forgot a word in that sentence. When I was a child, when I was child, um,
I'm gonna start saying that when I was child.
when I was child, I would grab all the VHSs that we had
Mhm,
and line them up and organize them alphabetically and just keep doing
mhm,
that. I wouldn't watch them. I would
mhm.
only organize them.
Don't you sound like me, yes, man.
I think that might have been OCD. I don't know. Like I think like it would just I would do it for artwork. I would like yeah, we still have some. I think we only have like a few now because we've moved around a lot and we kept the ones that like we watched all the time and that are really special. So we have like Mulan and like The Little Mermaid and Winnie the Pooh. Like we have those on VHS still.
No, we had VHS and stuff, but like I guess we had like maybe like 50. And I used to use the tapes. I know we get off so subject, but I used to use the tapes and I used to make pyramids and stack pyramids, and that's how I used to like train for Survivor. Whenever I had to stack like the shit up, I would stack tapes. Like
Nice.
I was probably fucking them tapes all up when they failed, but I was still practicing and getting my little fills in. But
Yeah, we didn't have cable when growing up, so like we mostly had VHS and then like DVDs when those became more of a thing. Because like I'm a 2000. I was born in 2001, so like they were still a thing when I was young, but we're kind of going out when I was getting a little older.
DVDs was getting big, like Finding Nemo was on DVD. And I think that was one of the earlier ones that was like on DVD, like 2003, 2004. And I strictly remember like Finding Nemo being on DVD and people getting like Finding Nemo and shit. But the fact that DVDs are damn near obsolete too is kind of crazy. Okay, so they get to the dance and like they're ready to start the motherfucker up. Caitlin waiting on Mike to get there. Mike got a nice little suit on with his little. He created this with the whole lights and stuff on his belt. Like he actually flashing it. I like it. And then Caitlin her little butterfly fairy outfit or whatever she had on. So they was out there chilling in the Halloween shit. So he boots up the DJ. And Mike does some like cute little magic for Caitlin, pull some flowers out for her. I was like, okay, I see what's being gay. This nice little sequence. So the dance starts with no problems and they grooving. And then you can see Scott in the background waiting to, strike. He being sneaky with his little friend, and his little friend like, do it. And then they press the button and like, stuff start doing
and
weird
stuff.
Period. It started going backwards, reversing, the music crazy. It catches on fire. They
I
got
don't know
like
how they didn't get in trouble for this. Like there was no repercussions at all for setting the gymnasium on fire.
It was repercussions for Mike because everybody blamed Mike for it. Like,
but like also he didn't really get into trouble either. He just felt
got shame.
embarrassed. Like the teacher just put out the fire and like no one was like got in trouble for a fire starting in the gymnasium. I'm like either Mike could have been in trouble even though it wasn't his fault, or Scott should have gotten it. Like
yeah, no, I got you. No, somebody should have been suspended and probably expelled because that's evil. And the fact that you just try to burn the whole school down,
and they were still laughing when the fire was going on. They didn't care. They're like, ha ha ha.
Come on. Speaking of that, they chilling and like the teacher gotta kind of run up with the fire extinguisher and like put it out, but Mike didn't want her to do that because if she did that, it would fuck all the shit. So he kind of tried to stop her, and she kind of turned. He got sprayed as well. So this,
which apparently is just so funny to everybody.
Right. So this was the start of obviously his downfall. So how do you feel about all of this before the next scene?
I was like, okay, that was exciting, but I was also like, I'm still bored.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I got a real quick question for you. Were you expecting what's going to come next? Like when it came up, did you know it was going to come at that point?
The alien? Or no?
No,
No.
no. The Flash back, but
Oh, I
forward.
wasn't expecting it that so soon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No, because the alien comes after, yeah. But then like it comes back to where we start at the beginning, which I will say I don't really like when movies do that, when they try to, when they're just like, how are we gonna entertain the people? We're gonna show them a part of the movie that's more entertaining now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just make the beginning of the movie entertaining.
Period.
Like,
Like up until this point, like they could have actually just like took it out from the front, had this go regular, and then just have this happen.
mm-hmm.
I would like just starting with Mike telling a story. I would have been okay with that.
Yeah, I don't like when movies do the flash forward because I think it's a really, really cheap way to try to get someone invested in a story.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, as a filmmaker, I'm not a filmmaker, but like, I think a filmmaker's job is to get the person invested and entertained immediately,
Mm-hmm.
really quickly. Otherwise, they're going to lose interest. And I think doing it that way is kind of a cheap way. And I'm just like, make the beginning of it interesting and don't rely on the climax or the middle part of the movie to make it interesting.
Period. Because they actually fumbled the bag trying to do that. Because after like the lightning strikes the satellite, like it blows up. Like motherfucker just blow up, and like he runs away. And this is where I said earlier they flipped the script. His parents and his sister basically like they were very supportive of him almost burning their house down, probably burning the neighborhood down, almost killing himself. And they were just like, hey, bro, I know you was a little embarrassed about what happened at the dance, but you also almost caught that gymnasium on fire. But Mike was in a bad little spot. And this was I got a question after this, but the little sister talking about how they're not about to have cable no more because of him was actually kind of funny. So how'd you feel about Mike saying he didn't even want to do smart things anymore? Like he was just done. Like she asked him to help her with
I don't have the will to problem solve anymore. I'm like, dramatic. Stop with the dramatics. Like, you had an embarrassing moment at school that wasn't even your fault.
Mm-hmm.
And like, just dramatic.
So dramatic. Like,
just so dramatic at the fact that he was like, that was the reason he wrote out to the aliens to take him away, that he was being held hostage on this planet. It was the phrasing being held hostage because of gymnasium, because his school didn't go perfectly. Like,
oh my god, when you put it in perspective like that, I was looking at it like he was too mad for nothing. But that's so funny because yes, like bro, like you actually had the gymnasium looking nice. Something malfunctioned. I'm sorry. He didn't even know the bullies did it at that point, I don't think.
No, he didn't.
So why was he so sad? Why was this the breaking point, bro? Like why was this let me send a message to the aliens?
I'm so frustrated with this movie. I feel like at the end of this, someone could be like, 10 minutes of Esme hating on Can of Worms, like Esme hating on Can of Worms for 10 minutes straight.
We need to say horrible name for the movie. The worst name.
There was no worms in it. There were no fucking worms. There was no cans. There were no worms. Can of alien. This movie got me so frustrated.
Don't get me started. Okay, so basically, when he said,
I'm
fuming. Okay, so basically, after Mike is soaking in front of his family, he decides that okay, let me just go soak in my treehouse. And he's chilling by himself, and he see a white light. Like you see a light, and like
Jesus.
He feels vibrations, and then out comes a dog with a light up collar with lips on it.
I mean,
he can talk with his transmission device.
You couldn't have made it more interesting. You couldn't have made the first alien not a fucking dog. Like, fourth alien we see in this movie is a goddamn just dog with a lip necklace on.
It was crazy. I said, listen, these the
If I, wanted
alien.
to, if I wanted to watch a movie about a dog, I would have watched You Lucky Dog again.
Period. Because like, why did the dog? Why was the dog the first alien? A dog? Come on.
And then the second alien, I don't even want to talk about that disgusting mess of the second alien.
They also could have just made the first alien a human. I'm not gonna hold you up. I would have been more okay with the human than a dog. I'm not gonna hold you up. Because it'd have made more sense. Like, just
at least even if it was like a dog, even if it was like at least like resembling a dog, at least have it transform into like a regular dog. Like at least have it shapeshift into like a regular dog that follows him around.
Yes, and the fact that there was no other dogs in the movie, but the fucking alien is actually kind of crazy. The only dog in the movie was an alien. Like, huh?
It's like, did you only have 4 ideas for aliens? And you were like, for the main alien, dog with lips.
Oh my god! Listen, and when we get to the other aliens, like they didn't even try. Like they most definitely didn't try. So this dog comes out. He can talk with his translation device, and Mike finds out that he opened the Stargate. Basically, he sent that message. He sent the transmission to the whole galaxy, and another thing, they do not really explain why the whole galaxy wants to come there.
It made no sense. And like how they were all still pressuring him to come on even after he was like, oh, I don't want to go.
It was crazy.
So it makes sense, love.
This dog is called Barnabas, and Mike wants to run, but the dog tells him that he must come with him. It's explained that the longer he stays, the more complicated it becomes. It does not become more complicated. It gets more boring. It gets more boring, but it does not get more
boring and complicated are not synonyms. No.
I was like, okay, make sure. I looked at that quote and I was like, okay, well, maybe it's like he eventually has to.
At this point, I still wasn't interested in this. Was like halfway through the movie. I didn't get interested in it all until the last 20 minutes, which is not what.
Yeah, it was bad. No, it was bad. And
I have an unbridled rage for this movie. Apparently, this awoken something in me.
Listen, I ain't gonna hold you up. Spoiler alert: I didn't think no movie was gonna get voted under You Lucky Dog for me. I didn't think anything. But this might take the motherfucking cake. Oh my god. But Barnabas explains to Mike that the signal he sent out was received by a lot of different beings, some who will not have his best interest. So he runs away from Barnabas, and like Barnabas basically be like, come talk to me, like don't leave with nobody else, come leave with me. And I have a question for you, Esme. Why? Just because he's the first one to come, does he just get immunity from being a bad person?
Because he's a cute dog. Woof, woof, woof. He's a cute dog. That's why. And dogs can't be evil. No, woof, woof, woof. Because the other ones are disgusting. That's why.
Right.
The other ones are ugly. You got this in this movie. They say judge a book by its cover. They said judge the book by its cover because the dog cute, the slime pipe alien. No.
Yeah. Speaking of the slime pipe alien, Mike basically gets away from Barnabas and chilling in his room trying to eat dinner. And
I was laughing at the fact that he was shitting on hamburgers to Scott earlier, and then he's eating a hamburger. I'm like, okay,
mess. That's what he get. And like this, whatever something's leaking from above him, and it falls on his food, and it falls on him, and he looks up, and it's like a sewer pipe. And like, what type of alien pops out, Esme?
I don't even want to fucking talk. I don't even want to describe it. I don't want to describe this shit. This is one of the most disgusting creatures I've ever laid my goddamn eyes on.
It had a mouth. Like it had a mouth.
It had a mouth, had a human mouth and human eyes.
But it was like a green
cabbage demon.
Yeah.
Oh, it's also like my type of humor is not gross out humor, and that was the whole scene with this alien.
I want to throw up this, man. I was like, ugh.
I was like, this is. I get like as a kid, this could be funny, but it got tiring. It was just like, okay, gross alien, haha.
Yeah, really. It was just
That was it.
disgusting.
That was it. It was like, oh, and now it's burping. Now it's eating the hamburger.
Mhm.
Like,
I mean, he was a slimy type of alien, and he had a slimy vibe. He claimed that he could get Mike millions of alien credits. Okay, what is he gonna do with these alien credits? First of all, that's what I was thinking. Like, what the fuck is going on? So,
and he
as
tried to do him
basically trying to sell him
snake oil. Pretty. It was like
some snake oil. It was dumb. It was nothing. And while Mike is like thinking about this proposition, like, well, I might do need a lawyer because I am about to get America blew up. But Caitlin calls him to like apologize for shunning him in hallway. Oh, I forgot to mention this
We forgot to
earlier.
mention that, like,
Yes, when Mike
he does go
yes.
back to school, and everyone's kind of like, "That's the kid who got sprayed with a fire extinguisher." Bully him.
Caitlin actually do him dirty in front of her friends. I was like, "Ooh, not this guy."
Yeah, I'm like, oh, interesting. But like, I did enjoy that she like innocently called him. Like, it wasn't like that. It was very quick for her to realize the error of her ways, and it wasn't like, I was like, okay, respect. She knew she was in the wrong in that situation, and she like immediately called.
Period. And she basically called and like, wow, like she calls and apologizes for shunning him, and she's claiming that she misses him and wants to be friends
and wants to start over.
But all in the meantime, the alien is like doing a whole bunch of weird shit, distracting him. I don't know why he couldn't just like focus, but like Mike couldn't.
I also don't know why he can be like, "Hey, I'm kind of busy. Can you call me back in 10 minutes?"
10 minutes.
Like, that would have ended that conflict. That was a stupid, easily resolved conflict. All these fucking conflicts were so like,
especially because anybody is gonna automatically believe that there's an alien in your room.
Yeah,
so
you just be like, "Hey, I'm kind of dealing with some I'm kind of dealing with some stuff. I'm a little busy. Can we call back? Can I call you back in 10 minutes?"
Got you. Click.
and she'll be like, "Oh, okay. Like, he's not blowing me off. He has something else to do. Like, he can't give me his full attention. That's what you do."
But instead, while he tried to talk to Caitlin and while she tried to mend bridges, he responds to the alien, but Caitlin thinks he's talking about him. So she gets offended and says, "I really should have never tried to do this. You kind of are weird and annoying." I mean, she didn't say that, but basically she was kind of like,
she's like, well, then she's just like, "Well, then fuck you too. Bye, bitch."
That's exactly how she was. That's the vibe.
I like, where because Disney Channel movie petition for every Disney Channel movie to allow one curse word in it.
Period. Disney will be up in like uproar. All the parents would be so mad. So the alien explains that Mike has an open and shut case with a lawsuit against Irv because they really think that Earth was holding this man against his will, and like he explains to the alien like that he never thought real aliens would come. So now he says to the alien, he says no, and the alien basically tries to like say he gonna sue him for wasting his time, which is so funny, and then goes back into the sewer and leaves.
Yep.
Mike's friend comes over immediately, and like he smells like the like nasty
yourself.
Period. I was like, "Ooh, not you talking when you poop yourself."
And it's like he tries to explain, "Oh, an alien." His friend's like, "Okay, sorry about you going insane, then, bestie."
Period. He did not believe him at all.
No, he did not.
No, bestie, no. So
like, why are you lying?
He tells him that Nick tells Mike that he cannot separate real life from his imagination. I was like, oh my God, they are on this man. And so after this, Mike decides that he's going to go see Caitlin at her house, but she still really isn't like feeling him like that. So, she's like dropping her friends off. She kind of see him on like around a tree, and she kind of like give him a look and keep it pushing. And then Barnabas comes to tell Mike that they have to go. Barnabas doesn't understand why Mike doesn't want to leave after sending an intergalactic message to everybody. Because Mike's saying, "No, I can't go." But Barnabas like, "Wait, didn't you send his message? Because aren't we here because of you?
Yep.
Like, and you don't want to leave? Come on, bro. What is going on? And this is
just a hormonal teenager who sent out a message to aliens.
This is where Barnabas tells him he's opened up a can of worms.
Drop the movie title.
Drop the movie title. And this wasn't even a worse version of this. He says it another time later. I'm actually going to say it so I don't forget. He basically says, no matter what aliens you opened up before, the worst worm is about to come out soon. I was like...
that line. I hated that line. I hated so much about this goddamn movie. I hated that line. I hated the characters.
The costume was the
Anyway.
And
anyways, as you can tell, this is my favorite DCOM movie.
It was. I mean, it was good to watch because how wild it was. But Barnabas
was it good or was it boring?
It was very boring. But I'm happy to talk about this because to show motherfuckers how boring it was, you know, we got to get through it. So, like, Barnabas explains basically what Mike did was he took Earth from being protected under the primitive protection plan, hashtag PPP loans, yes. But since he's shown that he's technologically advanced, he's exposed Earth to the galaxy, meaning they're not primitive anymore. So like they don't have any protection from the rest of the galaxy. So Mike goes to see Caitlin to talk about a second chance. He calls her and she's willing to, or does he yell outside? Is that what happens?
Yeah, he's like, hey.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not insert a phone here.
Let me apologize to you. I kind of fucked up, but you kind of, let me apologize to you.
And at first, she wasn't feeling it, but she kind of like, let me.
She's like, fine, I'll come down. One more chance.
Period.
So she's coming down the stairs. He's waiting. Or wait, nope. My body's rejecting this movie. So he's standing at the bottom. He starts like walking up the porch stairs, and you see some eyes behind him going, ooh. And I'm like, oh god, not another goddamn alien. And it's just a lot of like, turns around, the alien's gone. Turns around, the alien's gone. Turns around, the alien's gone. And they did that like 7 times. It got boring after the first time.
Period.
So like right before Caitlin opens the door, the alien pops out and is like, hey. And zaps him with his eye and paralyzes him pretty much. He falls to the floor, paralyzed, can't move. Caitlin then opens up the door and is like, hello. And then the alien shoots her with the eye and like freezes her so she can't move. It looks like he freezes the whole world, the town. Because he then teleports Mike behind some bushes and there's another guy that's just frozen. And he's basically like, he's like a slimy TV salesman who's like pitching him like, I can make you rich and famous beyond your wildest dreams, baby. And yeah, at least this alien wasn't gross. He was just annoying. He was just really fucking annoying.
He was really ugly. I mean, he was annoying and ugly though.
Like he was ugly, but he wasn't disgusting. Like
he basically was an alien with like dangling eyes. Basically, just imagine if your hands were like in your eye socket and like you were holding your eye. Like the guy, it's like a guy from like old Nickelodeon show. I can't remember his name.
Yeah,
but same kind of thing. Like it was just long googly eyes or whatever. But he had like a weird ass body.
Yeah, and he had like tap shoes on. That I was very confused about with it, like the fucking like tap shoe. Dress shoes. I'm like, why?
Like you said, Esme, they didn't have ideas quick. They had 4 ideas and they said, oh, we got to make this work.
I don't know how you rewrote this movie 4 times and didn't just throw the script away.
Period. So after Mike basically says no, the alien disappears and
he grabs his eyes first. He's like,
oh yeah, he grabbed his eye. Yes, he grabbed his eye. And then Mike is way too far away from Caitlin. And Caitlin comes out to look for Mike, and he's not there. So she like,
and conveniently, a school bus passes, so she can't see him shouting and waving across the street. Aww, poor.
She's obviously frustrated, and she go back in the house. So yeah. So
Yeah,
she
because
like,
to her, she's like, oh, he's here, like, and we're going to talk this out. And then she gets down and he's gone.
I'll be mad too.
I'd be frustrated. I wouldn't want to talk to him again.
Not you calling me down here to flake on me. Like,
Mhm.
what's going on here?
Like, you knew I was coming down. You came to my goddamn house and then ding dong ditch? No.
So, yeah, Mike knew he wasn't gonna be
It
able to
wasn't even
breathe.
ding dong ditch. It was a shout and run.
A motherfucking shower. Sorry, excuse me. Yes,
It's a big
so
beyond. This movie was boring.
yes, it was Mike. It was Mike, and like the fucking dialogue was boring. Like the aliens boring. Like trying to get a motherfucker millions of credits. Like what is that? Like
Like,
trying
I'm
to
like honestly forgetting the movie as we go further down it.
period. And just watched it though, which is crazy. So basically, Mike fast forwards to being at home, and he asks his parents if he is adopted. And they say obviously not, and then obviously the
I
little
was.
daughter
I'll talk
trolled.
about it later.
Well,
With
no,
the
no, no.
main plot line.
Okay. Period. Because this is too much. They assure him that he isn't. Next, they go to the next scene because they said you are not adopted. Fuck
You
that
were not
shit.
pushed at birth. You were not adopted. I gave birth
Mhm.
to you. I pushed you out.
Period. You came out of my motherfucking womb. So Mike is talking to his friend in his tree. In his tree. No. Mike is taking his friend to his tree house. When they get in, hella aliens pop up, and this is the friend Nick that did not believe this man. So his friend finally sees this crazy ass shit.
So like we have the two aliens we met before, another alien, and like a sexy lady alien.
She's like a floating like squid head alien.
She's like a sexy fish alien, apparently. I'm like, why? But I think she's like working in conjunction with like one of the TV producers. Because there's like we have the TV producer alien that we met, but then there's like another TV producer alien. I'm like, why do we have the same character twice? Why do we have the same alien twice?
Right, like why are you trying to like why are you trying to benefit off my money? They had the right idea of exploiting people.
But like don't have like the lawyer alien and the TV producer alien, okay, weren't fleshed out enough, but at least they were different. But then we get another TV producer alien, and we only really have 3 aliens because the girl alien is just an accessory to one of the movie. I don't even remember what movie.
Especially how fast they go away. It's kind of crazy because when the big kahuna comes in, they scatter like little cockroaches, right? So like it was them 3, and then they had the little one where it was like a guy that had like his eyes on his chin. I don't know if you noticed, like he had like a
2
face.
mouths.
He had 2 mouths, like upside down or whatever. Like
I honestly did not pay attention to that man.
they tried.
I would kind of know about at this point.
And all while they're in a treehouse, they like are all fighting over Mike being like their client, and like basically Mike like and like Nick end up leaving them in the treehouse, and Nick basically is trying to convince like him not to go, and like but like Mike is determined to like leave, like
and
he was tripping.
Yeah, is this when Caitlin comes back? Catherine Kabasa comes back.
Yes, Caitlin comes to Mike's house.
I remember her name.
No, you good. The quote, I wrote a bar. She said, "You drive me crazy. First, you make more sense than anybody I've ever known in my life, and then you don't make any sense at all. Figure it out." She was frustrated with Mike.
Where their relationship does not develop anymore.
That's where it quit. That's where she basically called his ass out for being on bullshit, and like the whole relationship, capiche.
There's nothing more. Just like not developed anymore. I'm like, and there's like still like another 40 minutes left of this goddamn
a lot. It was a lot left. I was like, why is this movie still going? Like, what you? And listen, Esme, you know this movie was boring because this movie was only an hour and 24 minutes, and it felt like I was watching this motherfucker for 2 hours. Maybe even 3. I was like, oh my god, how is this shit still on?
I'm like, okay, so I paused it at one point. I'm like, oh, so I've like watched an hour. I was like a half an hour into the movie. I'm like, wow.
It was crazy. Like I was just looking at, and I don't like looking at the times of movies because I don't like being disappointed when I still got a whole hour left. Yeah. It felt like that hour was never stopped. Like it always was an hour left.
It was the never-ending movie.
Period. So Mike tells like Caitlin that he about to go to another planet. She does not believe him. He tells her that he's sorry about the dance and that she gave him a feeling that he's never had before. The feeling that he belongs. And I'm just like, come on, like, why aren't y'all developing this? Like, how are y'all throwing all this shit in there?
And
Y'all
then
are not
nothing happens after the scene.
come on, all of this goes in there and y'all not doing nothing with this. Like, I don't know if they thought they was gonna get a can of worms too, or I don't know.
Or like it got cut from some of the rewrites.
Yeah, they was this looked like a movie that had 3 rewrites, maybe even 4, and they said let's take the best part out of each rewrite and just put it in one movie because this movie was like it had a coherent storyline of okay. I guess we can overall talk about it later, but
so basically, did but kind of didn't.
Right. So okay, I'm sorry.
I don't like how angry this movie is making me.
No, it's fine. We almost done. You won't be so mad, soon. So basically, Mike goes to the treehouse to talk to the aliens. Like, goes back in there, and they have drafted a contract for him, which was like, okay, weird. Like, I didn't know aliens use contracts. Is this a blood contract? Are you so?
Yeah, then she sees the aliens. She's like, "Oh, aliens. Oh, okay."
She was chilling.
Oh, cool.
Period. So all of a sudden, all the aliens decide that it's time to leave, and then this is when Barnabas says the worst word.
Because the worst worm in the can, the worst worm in the earth, the worst of earth, the worm. He's rearing its ugly head.
And Barnabas explains that if he can talk to the right people, he can have all of this absolved, or Earth is going to get blown up because he's like attracted all of these aliens to Earth that didn't know Earth existed or just thought it was nothing here. So he actually brought them down here. So ironically, Jay, which is Nick's little brother, pops up and
he's like, "Oh, look at this light. That's so cool." And he starts walking through the ladder, and like all the people just start shouting no, and he does not listen to them. He does not listen to them, and he gets eaten. He gets and the brother does not seem alarmed by this too much at all. I was like, you just saw your baby brother get like sucked into a fucking alien portal, possibly to never be seen again, and you're like, just another Monday night.
Esme, I thought the same shit. I'm like, where was the urgency? Like, where was the trying to grab your brother?
Why was the girl who met this kid once more concerned
about you?
Like, why was the girl who saw this man, who like only saw the kid get eaten, more concerned than his fucking brother?
And I've seen Nick in other movies before. Like, I've seen him have some type of career. He might pop up in more DComs. I'm not sure, but I've seen that character in other movies. So for you not to even be able to act well enough that your fake brother in a movie just got snatched up by an alien to actually seem like you care, like it was no caring at all.
No, I was like, said, well, he said, "Fuck them kids."
He said, "Well."
So then they go. The brother puts on like a fucking pig mask and scares, or no. There's a little explanation that happens before this. Sorry. Like, so the dog alien, the lip dog alien is like, well, he's not the perfect specimen, so they're going to come back for more people until they find the perfect person. And they said, oh, you know who's the perfect man? The bully, the one who committed arson.
Period.
So the brother of the little guy, the brother that did not care that his younger brother just got eaten, puts on a pig mask and like breaks into this kid's house. And I still would have been very scared even after, because like the bully is like, oh, I know you. That's fine that you broke into my house then.
Right, it was too calming. It was way too calming. And what got me was the fact that the bully, like, okay, so Nick, the brother, basically just asked the bully to sacrifice himself. And like,
because what happens is,
and he doesn't know specifically, he sacrificed himself, but like, he basically asked him to like do something that's not good for his own benefit.
Like
So
what he does is he comes to the house, and apparently we never saw this happen. Mike, not Nick. Mike apparently somehow figured out that he caused the fire. There was no,
right, there was
there was show don't tell. That's a fucking staple. Show don't tell.
period.
It was never shown that he figured that out. It was never shown. So like him being like, oh, he knows that you were the one who caused this malfunction. I'm like, how? It was never explained. We never saw that. We never even heard him be like theorize that it could have been him.
Right, and they never talked about how he got suspended for fucking setting that gymnasium on fire. Like, 'cause I'm pretty sure Mike is snitching. I feel like if Mike finds out, Scott did some weird ass shit, Mike's snitching. Why wouldn't he? That's not his friend. Like, he don't fuck with him, and like Scott is an asshole to Mike. They asshole to each other. I ain't gonna hold you up.
Yeah,
but you don't have no allegiance to him. Oh, principal, he did this shit. It wasn't me because I set this up right. You feel me? But yeah.
So like the brother, Nick, is his name Nick?
The brother is Nick. His little brother is Jay. Yes.
So the older brother Nick is like, you need to come here because like I think he basically says, oh, you're gonna square off with each other. So he lies. He gets him to come to the backyard, and then he learns the truth of like there's aliens. And my little brother Jay got eaten by an alien, and I don't really care, but you're gonna sacrifice yourself for him. Thank you.
He was like, okay, like it was
like
just...
At first he was apprehensive, and then he was like, well, then Mike was like, I dare you to. And he's like, fine, well, I'm a man, I can't pass down this dare.
Oh my god, this is literally a 90s trope. A motherfucking a dare. He asked him to dare him, and he did it. I was okay. Sorry.
So the alien guy comes back and snatches Steven, Sean.
Not Sean. Scott.
Yeah, snatches Scott with his tongue, and then the other three, and the dog go through the portal as well. And this is where the movie picked up for me. But this was the last 20 minutes. This was the last goddamn 20 minutes.
It was too long. It was way too deep in.
It only was really interesting for 15 minutes. And I'm like...
So when they follow him through the portal, after he gets snatched up, he wakes up in Mike's backyard at the treehouse.
And he's like, how's it daylight?
How's it daylight? And Jay is chilling in there, and he like, oh, this optimistic ass kid. He was chilling. Jay was the best character, but Jay was in there like, they gonna come find us. They gonna come get us.
He like first is like, oh yeah, we're like in a zoo, pretty much. And he points to like a wall, and apparently, being stuck in Mike's backyard is Scott's worst nightmare. Why?
They need multiple sets. They needed one set for that. Listen, it just didn't make no sense. They were just having shit happen. They were just throwing anything at the wall for it to happen. So,
and none of it stuck.
So they discovered that they trapped. So Mike, Kaylin, Nick, and Barnabas are walking around the jungle to find Jay and Scott. The place has a lot of like skeletons, aka fossils, from like look like dinosaurs, to be honest. They didn't look like aliens, like dinosaurs. And then basically they see like this hot ass rock person, they press a button and they realize it's kind of like a museum. So whoever this evil alien is, I mean, we find out later his name is like Foed.
Yeah, because I think like the guy Barnabas is like, they call it a zoo, but you might call it a jail.
Because you may call it a jail. And I was like, I mean, it's both, but so it was definitely both. So Mike sees a Hansel, and this is where the storyline could have actually circled around and made sense. I think they had a chance of redeeming qualities in this Esme, but I think when they got to this point, they either shouldn't have included the Hansel in there, or something else should have happened
or have him
because
actually be part of him, you know.
mm-hmm.
Because this was the thing I was talking about earlier. I said like I'll just circle back to it later. There was like so much foreshadowing that he was part alien, but he wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking in like some script he was. I'm thinking in some script it's like he was part
the
alien.
first one he was, and then they kept going and kept going and kept going. It was like,
and then that got dropped, but they didn't take out all the context clues to him being an alien. Like the Smeagol, I don't know what they were fucking called. The alien,
the Hansels,
and it's like the Hansel there seems to know him too, and I'm like, and like mind melds with him too to show him how to unlock the prison cell.
Listen, this shit was crazy. This shit was crazy.
There needed to be more explanation. He either needed to be like actually a Hansel, or be like part Hansel. And it was just never fucking explained. He was just a human. It didn't.
He was human.
It didn't make sense.
No sense.
It didn't make sense. This movie broke me. I'm broken and you're laughing.
I said through the same thing. Like, what the hell is this? I said through the exact same thing. Like, what the hell is this? But so basically, like I said, the only redeeming quality of this movie is Jay, and he's very optimistic about them getting saved, and we love to see it. So Caitlin ends up spotting Scott and Jay. They knocking on the window, trying to get attention. Soundproof. They can't see it. So Barnabas instructs them to hurry, and somehow, the fold person comes out of nowhere. And
why is he dressed as a human?
Listen. Why the fuck was he a human, Esme? I don't know. I was like, why is this man a human? He's supposed to be an alien. And this is what I was telling you earlier about. I would have rather the dog have been a human than Fold coming out at the end being a human. Because if this was supposed to be the greatest alien ever, and it turns out to be somebody in human form,
like there was a joke about it being like, "Oh, you were expecting something more intimidating."
Not a human.
Yeah, I was expecting something more intimidating. This was a letdown, like the rest of the fucking movie. This was a goddamn letdown, like the rest of this shitty ass movie.
Mm-hmm. So basically, they see Fold. Hold on, I lost my spot. I'm so sorry. So he's in human form, and then he only came there like to get Mike, and he calls this prison a sanctuary, and it's like you said, it's kind of like a zoo. Remind me of Carol Baskin, feeling like she's saving somebody from really living a dangerous life. But she really got a fucking prison. He says he will have enough beings soon that people.
Is he going to feed his husband to one? Is he going to feed his husband to one of the aliens though?
I believe so. He thanks Mike for being a prized possession and that Caitlin was coming with. He was wilding. He was like, "Thank you, basically for." I don't know why is Mike so like such a prized possession. I don't know. Like basically, and after that, he turns into a monster. And I'm about to spit fire through the rest of it because they start pissing me off. And he so they run away. He's looking for the kids, and he's like a weird toad, like lizard person. Like how would you describe that? A frog? He was a frog. I was like,
okay. He just had a tongue.
He had a tongue. He leaped on Mike's face at one point. I said, okay. Somehow they in his own like dungeon they find like a trap to trap him in. Like I was just kind of like, listen,
this made no sense. This made no sense. Why did he have a random cage suspended in the sky? Why did he set that up?
And how did he get trapped in his own trap?
I don't know, Ganjo. I really don't know at this goddamn point.
So they ended up trapping him and getting the key from like the guy, and this is a key around his neck, like a little amulet. And
he says, "That's mine."
That's mine. And then Mike wants to save the Hansel before Jay and Scott.
I realized I kind of said that earlier, like about him mind melding with this alien that he's not related to. That's not explained how he knows how to mind meld with this alien.
He just sat there and just.
He was just like, And she's like, like, explain it to me. I need explanation for how he knows how to do this.
But guess what they was on, Esme? They was on the unlock pads of the iPhone, like or the Androids early on. You know how the Androids had that little pattern you could put
You
in.
can do like a pattern, like let me do an X.
Let me do this. They was already on that in this movie, so they was above their time. So basically, the Hansel is communicating with Mike, and he's instructing him on how to free him. Like, so like he ends up doing a little like passcode thing with the key on the window. It was so dumb. And like he let the Hansel out, and they kind of like connected for a second, and then he let him go, whatever. And then Mike went to go free Scott and Jay.
He's free Scott and Jay, and then he frees the rest of the aliens too.
Basically, Barnabas tells them how to escape, and they have to go back through the original gate. Like, I mean, like you said, he frees all the other aliens.
Right, because the other three come out quickly, and then he's like, okay, let me free the other aliens, and then they come through.
So they make it out, but the Stargate is still open. So if somebody is traveling through it, it will not close. So the Foed told Evil Man flies through, and Mike tells him that they are about to eat frog. Mike tells them that they eat frog legs on this planet, which was kind of funny. Basically said, boy, you about to die. It was a cute way of saying they about to kill him. So as Foy was trying to take Mike back, like he grabs him, and like he had a hold. They all trying to pull Mike back, and then like basically Barnabas calls the cops. And
I thought Barnabas was gonna bite the tongue.
He should have. And instead, he barks.
I think that him biting the tongue would have been a more like him biting the tongue, and then them being able to push him back into the portal and having it close. It would have meant that they defeated him. They didn't really defeat him. A cop. He was just arrested, and that was like another thing of like. The main conflict was wrapped up into like 10 minutes, and like that was not entertaining.
He was way too evil,
easy. He was way too easy, and like they didn't really do anything. Like
they didn't at all, and like
so, I think that was like another letdown of this movie was like just like how quickly the conflicts came and went, because like we waited for like a good 60 minutes for this conflict to come through, like because up until that point there wasn't really conflict until Jay was taken. Well,
that sewer guy was the most conflict,
but like that also wasn't really conflict. That was like that was just more of a for quote unquote comedic effect. But like the conflict really came through when like Jay was taken, but that was like within the last 20-25 minutes, and that's it sucks. When your biggest conflict only really gets 20 minutes or 15, like
Yeah, I mean, they had a lot of little things that they tried to do. Like Barnacus early said that he wasn't a fucking dog, so he didn't bark. So that at the end when he barks, he like somehow that does something to Fold and actually gets him to stop. I
didn't understand that either. I didn't understand the movie. I didn't understand this movie. I didn't like this movie.
And like, so the cops come, and they basically said Fold had like hella warrants. So I'm like, wait, it took the Earthling getting snatched up, freeing everybody, for y'all to finally find this person.
Cops are all over the apparently.
Come on, y'all need to
apparently travels to fucking aliens too.
Not good cops at all. These were not good cops at all.
Are any cops good though? No.
I'm just saying, like, they weren't even good at their jobs. I was kind of like, come on, this is terrible. But nah, there's some. I ain't gonna leave that. So Caitlin said she fucks with their teamwork that they all had, and they had a good night. So like now they fast forward to like Mike being on the bench at the football game, and Barnabas comes to talk to Mike, saying that the transmission will be wiped away. And
that basically like we'll write it off as like a mistake, as like a fluke accident.
So yeah, so his little sinning thing.
Because we never really touched on the fact that like Earth was protected under like this lower life form thing.
Not them calling us dumb.
I mean, we made this movie. Were they wrong?
They were 100% correct.
It's like we were like classified in some lower. Like I didn't touch on this because it didn't make fucking sense to me because it kept. Felt like they kept changing it too.
It was bad.
Like it felt like they kept changing the classification, like the name of it and the like what it really was. It just didn't make. It was another
No,
person.
it was bad. No, it was so bad. And like it was bad. Mike then Barnabas asked Mike one more time if he wants to come with him to his planet. Mike declines. And Barnabas says some cute shit about people being sad, usually looking down, but Mike always looks at the stars. So that's what he learned from him. And that was very cute.
And then he lets a scratch behind his ear.
Yeah, he scratched behind his ear. He said, "Oh, treat me like a dog." And then he like went into his little like
dog house
dog portal in his little dog house, and he like just formed away. So then Mike gets his ass on the field, and then turns out he still sucks. Even though he sucks, he says that this is where he belongs, and like he even had all the cheerleaders. He even had all the cheerleaders screaming his name. Said, "Go, Mike Pillsbury, go!"
If Mike can't do it, no one can. If Mike can't do it, I bet someone else can because he sucks.
He sucks so bad. It looks so bad. So that was really the movie. Yeah. So. Esme, so overall, how are you feeling about Can of Worms?
I loved it. It was my favorite movie. A S tier, S plus tier. So, garbage, mama, garbage. I want something else. Do something else.
No, I think they had. No, I want to say they had a good. No, I want to say they had a good concept, but they just didn't. Like they like the whole concept of a kid sending a transmission to aliens, and then aliens believe in him, and then he's supposed to. He knows stories about real aliens, but he's not an alien. It's just like, huh? Like, come on, make it make sense.
They need another rewrite.
Just one more.
I think what would have made it better, at least. I think we needed to see the big bad earlier on. We needed that to happen earlier. I think it would have been more interesting if it started out more as a Prison Break movie, honestly, and they were escaping the spaceship. Like after, like he was like he thinks this is what he wants. He gets tricked into coming on the spaceship. He thinks this is what he wants. He thinks this is what he wants. Like he's like, oh, great, now I can leave, and like somehow his friends get stuck with him. You know, like his friends are in his backyard to like come to see him in his backyard, and they get taken with him. And then they're like, shit, we're on a prison. We need to figure out a way to escape. And that's the plot of the movie.
It should have been more alien based and not human based with the aliens trickled in, because it's like he should have opened up a can of worms by like either flooding America or the earth with hella bad. So it's kind of like all the aliens was there and we were introduced to the main one early, like, oh, just at least a scene saying, I want to put him in for my collection. You know what I'm trying to say? I want this person for my collection. Just something to make it like,
or even if like you still want to do that like flashback thing, have the flashbacks thing, fast forward thing be on the alien ship with this alien, big bad alien getting a message and being like, I'm stuck on this planet. And he's like, now I have like, when you think my collection's complete, and then like you know, and then like throughout the movie you're like, when is this gonna come in? Like, when is this alien gonna come through? You know,
it just alien took a while. They took their time with this one, and that was where they were on the bag. Well, I mean, I ultimately agree with you. I don't say I struggled getting through the movie. It was more so I was analyzing everything, but it got to a point where it was just like, okay,
it's like at this point, like, this isn't even like it gets to a point where like this isn't even really fun to analyze anymore. Like,
it wasn't, because it was all over the place. Like,
and that's what sucks. Is like it's not even like a bad movie that's fun to watch. It's not like, you know, like The Room, where like that's a bad movie, but it's like so bad it's good and it's like fun to watch. Like it's like a fun movie to like watch. It's just bad. It's just in that like thing because like for me there's like a arc of like movies that are really good and enjoyable that are like really masterpieces, and then it kind of dips down and then it comes back up to like movies that are so bad they're really interesting to watch. And like it just falls right in the bad, but like not good to watch for me. It's just like I wouldn't rewatch this. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. Like,
I was about
like
to
even if
say,
you like alien movies, like this isn't the one. Like I think I also realized this felt so much like this felt like a spoof of a Disney Channel movie at points.
yes,
Like,
it was bad.
like it felt like an SNL sketch of how cheesy Disney Channel movies are, and that's not a good thing. That's not a compliment. Like it felt like someone making a mockery of a Disney Channel movie, but it's an actual Disney Channel. It just because it was overacted, it was hammy, it was wasn't campy in a fun way either. Because like I like campy movies, but it wasn't good. It was just boring and infuriating at both somehow.
It was bad. No, it was like, you want to go on the tier list?
Yep.
Before I just hear talk, because the mess.
All right, can you see it?
Not yet. 1 second. Let me add it to stream. Perfect. So it's about to pop up. Okay, perfect. It popped up.
So let's put it right here where it belongs, right?
Laugh my ass off. Yeah, and like the F tier, and I won't listen. I'm okay with putting Can of Worm. This is my vote. I'm okay with putting Can of Worm in F.
Okay.
And leaving You Lucky Dog in D because
You Lucky Dog was like.
Well, You Lucky Dog was also bad. Like I'm not going to take away from this. But it had a storyline. I to this day, I'm keep saying this every time we rank this shit. If I was a dog, Esme, I would love this movie. So I can't.
And if you were a dog, you wouldn't like Can of Worms. So that's why Can of Worms is worse than You Lucky Dog. Because at least a dog could enjoy this movie. A dog cannot fucking enjoy this movie because this movie is what a fucking flop.
A flop, F for flop. And the dog in the movie didn't even want to be a dog. The fact that was their first alien I was like, I was so frustrated with them.
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
I was very frustrated with them at that point. But no, I had.
At least I hope this was entertaining to watch me suffer.
Yes. So, I believe our next movie for next week is the 13th Year.
Which, like, even if it's boring, will be better than this movie.
No, I can guarantee you it's better. Like that was one of the movies, and we can talk about this more next week. But that was one of the movies that like I really connected to when I was younger. Just like it's basically, if you guys want to watch it, it's basically just about like a kid who turns 13 and he has some kind of gift on his 13th birthday that he's not ready for. So
that already seems more interesting.
That it's very interesting, Esme, and the irony of, not to spoil, I'm not gonna spoil it, but I'm gonna bring this back to this movie next week to tell you about the irony of how Mike felt, and that's kind of like Disney was playing games with. They was most definitely playing games. But so that being said, I'm all good, Esme.
I'm good. I'm ready to sign up. I'm ready to leave this movie and never fucking think about it again.
Can of Worms hater forever. Okay, so Esme, do you have anything you would like to plug?
I follow me on Twitter, Esme B Hart. Yeah. This movie took me out. I don't really have anything else to say at this point.
I can echo that. Like,
do you have anything you want to plug though, Ganjo?
Yes, you can follow me at Ganjo the Dank 2 on Twitter or Ganjo the Dank on Instagram or whatever. And you also can follow me at my ORG page at The Monarch Game. Social strategy, shout out to that. But yeah, I feel you guys stopped. Esme, I was like, they tried with this one and They missed.
Did
Like
they try?
they most definitely tried. They tried Esme because it was like
you were in 4 times or 3, something like that.
It felt like, you know how it was so many random scenes that didn't mesh together. It felt like
3 different movies.
It felt like 3 different movies. And you know how that one scene in Z9 happened where she was in a trash can, we didn't even know why she was down there or whatever. I think that happened throughout the whole movie.
It felt like the trash can scene in Xenon, but every scene was the trash can scene from Xenon.
Every scene. Like nothing engaged me until they actually got on the ship or the alien place.
Yeah, I was like,
even then it was really quick.
And then the movie's over.
It was really quick. So I'm sorry I had to hear us hating on this movie, but hopefully y'all enjoyed this recap.
I'm sorry, but your opinion is wrong if you like
hashtag get a clue. That's a future hashtag, right? You know. So thank you all for watching. Had so much fun this week, and see you guys next week.
I had a lot of fun hating on this movie. Thank you.
Good night.